Hey there, my name's David and welcome back to the Restyle File. Today we're in a bit of a different layout, but what I have planned is a bit of a different video than what I usually do. Today I have a basically ship with me, but specifically for TheRealReal. If you're not familiar with it, TheRealReal is a luxury consignment website that also has a few brick and mortar stores, and you send in items to them that are usually high-end or luxury or designer items, and they price them, take care of selling them, photographing them, etc. And when the item sells, you get a portion of the sales. Now, the structure is depending on what the item sells for, what kind of item it is, etc. So it can vary, and there's smart things to send to TheRealReal, and there's things you absolutely should not send to TheRealReal, especially if you consider the recent changes in their commission structures. So these days I don't send an awful lot. It's actually been a while since I've sent anything, but I do have some things that I want to send in, either because I think that they will price them very well, or because I just can't bear to look at them anymore, or I bought them exclusively for TheRealReal. I don't have any plan on trying to sell them myself, so I'm gonna go ahead and finally bite the bullet and pack a couple of boxes to send in. I'll try to give the thought process behind why I picked up certain items, what I look for when I'm purchasing for TheRealReal, and what I expect may happen in the selection process. There's some things that I'm absolutely certain they'll take. There's some things that I am kind of testing out to see how it's going to work. Some of these items you may also recognize from some of my prior haul videos. I am behind on sending things into TheRealReal, so I usually don't do it item by item. I usually wait until I have about 20 or 30 things, and then I send it all in at once. So I have my boxes. These are actually my boxes from when I moved, and I'm just repurposing them. Reduce, reuse, recycle, Rihanna. So let's get started. So the first item I have here is a faux fur jacket. It is by a label called Adrian Landau. You can see the tag right there. And I actually paid up for this item at Goodwill for $19.99. It was in the boutique section. But I have seen that they take this label, and I have actually sent them one other item by this label before, and they priced it pretty well. It sold in a couple of months, but it was a blue faux fur shawl, and it sold for like $200 and some, so I made about $129 on that sale, and I paid $30 for it at Goodwill, so I made a profit of roughly $100. So I know that now with the new commission structure, it's probably not going to be nearly as much, but I think it should at the very least cover the cost of what I'm paying for it. So I'm going to be sending this in and taking a gamble. I'll let you guys know how it goes. It appears to be in pristine condition. And even though it's faux fur, some faux fur items seem to still be very expensive. Just need to snip the tag carefully. I don't know where the other end of the tag went, so oh well. In it goes. The next item I have here is some lingerie / sleepwear, and it is by Valentino, and it appears to be in okay condition. Some of the older luxury brands like Valentino, Christian Dior, they do price them very well when it comes to their sleepwear and loungewear type garments. They don't buy underwear or actual lingerie like bras or garter belts or things like that. I've asked. But items like this, pajama shirts, pajama blouses, pajama dresses, they do appear to take. And they usually price them at about $100 to $200. So who out there is buying vintage loungewear for that much? I have no idea, but I'm not here to judge. Now this item is a label that I find all the time, and usually anywhere from a couple of dollars to like 17 or $20, or sometimes Goodwill marks it up. But this one, it's a London Fog, sort of just parka, jacket, coat, and it's just nothing special about it. But I did see that the last time I sent in a couple of London Fog items, they accepted them and they sold them, and I made more than I could possibly hope to sell them for myself. Nothing crazy or excessive. I think they priced the last London Fog coat I sent in at about 120 or so. So I'm not getting that much off that sale. However, I only bought this for like $2 at a family thrift center outlet. So it really doesn't cost me much to send this in. Alright, this is from a prior haul that I did, and it is a Gucci shirt. And it is by this artist, this print. It's called, the artist's name is Chris Knight. And I saw that they had priced this shirt and sold it previously for about $300 or $250. I definitely paid up for this shirt. It was 50 bucks at Goodwill. But I think I could probably make that back along with a little bit of profit. So it was worth it. I suppose I could try selling that myself, but if not interested. This item I purchased on Poshmark for I think about 100 or 125, but it is by a really well-known designer label, Jean-Paul Gaultier, and it is a menswear piece, and it's this really cool vest that it kind of wraps over. I almost wish I could keep it for myself, but I really don't see myself wearing this that much. And it's in perfect condition, but I've seen that they do price Jean-Paul Gaultier, especially vintage Jean-Paul Gaultier, very, very well. So I'm gonna send that in. Sometimes I like to shop on Poshmark to try to find vintage items to send in, but you have to be very mindful of how much you're paying and take a look at TheRealReal's website to see how they price that particular brand and similar items to the one you're looking to purchase to really make the best decision about whether or not you should buy it. This little item I purchased just yesterday at a Goodwill, and it's just a plain, simple navy belt, but if you take a look at the label here, you'll see that it is Christian Dior. So they do price Christian Dior accessories well. I would anticipate that if they accept this, it has a little bit of wear, but it's in pretty decent condition considering it's vintage. They priced my last Christian Dior belt at about $115. So I made roughly $30 or so on that sale. Could I possibly make that myself? Maybe, but sometimes I just don't want to deal with it. So I'm gonna be sending this one in. It cost me $2 at Goodwill. It was a blue tag and it was half off that day. These items, I purchased on Poshmark for I think $100, and I am anticipating that they'll probably price them at around, probably at around like $250, probably at around $300 to $350. They are Bottega Veneta, and they are the Intriciato, I forget what the actual pronunciation of it is, but they are woven slippers, and this is what Bottega Veneta is very famous for. And I saw comparables on the website, and they were selling them for about $350 or so. So I figured it'd be worth a shot. If they don't price them too well, I might relist them and ask for them to send them back, or maybe I'll keep them because I love Bottega Veneta. This right here is kind of a nothing item. I really don't expect to get a lot for this, if they even accept it. But it is a brand that I've seen that they accept, and they don't price it high at all. I think they price it at like $40, but I kind of just don't want to deal with photographing it or putting it on a mannequin or anything. So it is Bob Mackie. And it's just a very dated little sort of evening jacket, very Easter, very church, very I don't want to deal with it. So off it goes. Now this jacket is beautiful, and I expect a pretty penny because it's Fendi, and it is the Zuka print, which is why you see all the little F's all over, and it's just a belted trench coat. I paid up for this item. To be honest, the reason I wouldn't sell it myself is just because this kind of item I would see selling for a few hundred, more than anything I would personally be comfortable selling. I don't know, I'm nervous sometimes about selling very expensive luxury goods just because I could see someone trying to scam me, and I'd rather not deal with that. So that's why I'll be sending this item into TheRealReal. Also because I'm not 1000% sure on the authenticity of this item, and I have a pretty good eye for it, but if something is sort of dawdling on the line of possibly inauthentic, I don't want to risk my store, so in that case I will send it to TheRealReal. Worst case scenario, they authenticate it and they don't price it high, I might ask for it back and price it better myself. And then have the peace of mind of knowing that it's at least authenticated. You'll recall what I was saying earlier about sleepwear by designers being priced decently. Another one that they seem to price okay is Oscar de la Renta. And this is Oscar de la Renta Pink Label, which is not exactly upscale. I think it's one of their Nordstrom or department store subsidiary labels, but I thought it was really nice, and that I could see them listing this at about 125, maybe 150. I don't know. It didn't cost me anything. It was a nightgown, so it cost like $2 or $3. So we'll see. Here's a label that they take, but they don't price very well at all. It is St. John Sport, which is a lesser luxury portion of St. John. But it's just an orange jacket, blazer, evening jacket. Don't want to deal with it. Hate the color. Off it goes. This is a cool Japanese label. It is United Arrows, and it's a brand that they take. This sweater, is it cashmere? It's a blend, probably cashmere and wool, but kind of a nothing sweater. Wouldn't even really look amazing on a mannequin, and no chance of getting a model photo for this item. So I don't want to deal with it. Off it goes. This brand, I feel like I've seen a fair amount of times, and I always try to inspect it very thoroughly because these almost always, I feel like formal dresses and everything at Goodwill's almost always have just like, they dragged it across the floor when they left the party, and they just like crawled out of the wedding or the quinceañera, just always in terrible condition. But this one was okay. It's by the label Giovanni, Jovani. And I paid $15 for this. Probably not a great idea, but I guess we'll find out since I am sending it in. It's a size 0. That means it might sit on there for a while. But it's a long red silky dress with lots of intricate beading. I feel like that's almost always also in terrible condition when you find it at a thrift store, but this one appears to be okay. This jacket actually is pretty cute. It's a Norma Kamali, and it's just a little sort of work jacket, evening jacket, a little bit of velvet. Paid $7.98 for it. If it's from Salvation Army, that means I probably went on a half off day, so roughly $4. And vintage Norma Kamali, evening jackets and things like that, they do seem to price okay, so we'll send it in. I wouldn't hate selling this item myself, but I don't see myself getting a lot of money for it. I don't think a lot of people out there are looking for vintage Norma Kamali. They're looking for the sleeping bag coats or the sort of minimalist slinky things from Norma Kamali. This I know for sure that I picked up at the Salvation Army or not the Salvation Army, this was at the Texas thrift store on their 50% off day. So it cost $5.98, so half of that would be about $3. And it's a brand that I normally would never consider sending into the RealReal just because they would probably price it like trash, Alice and Olivia. But these are leather. And usually leather, they're always going to price at a minimum of $100. So they are very out of style. They are, well, actually low rise is kind of in style, I suppose. So, but they are a wide leg, low rise. Maybe they're actually very in style. I'm not going to play around with them though. I'm going to send them in. They are 100% leather, so I'm hoping that the material will make them price them decently. Alright, and here is a bag by Longchamp. It's a French label. You can see it. There's a green sticker here that says $12.99. That's what I paid for it at Goodwill. I looked it over. I'm pretty sure it's authentic, but I'm going to send it in just in case. It's a nice bag. I would expect that if they accept it and it's authentic, that they will probably list it at about $150 or $175, maybe $200 if I'm lucky, but it's in good condition. And it's not just the regular nylon totes, it's leather, so here is hoping. Tape dispenser. I also cover up these little side holes with tape as well, but I'll work on officially finishing that in a few. Now this item, they sent back the last time, and they said interior staining, but I didn't see anything. So back it goes. I'll show you the label in just a sec, but it is a sort of cheetah print evening jacket, and it is Mary McFadden? Yeah, Mary McFadden. Very, very dated. But I saw that there's a label that they accept and that they price okay, so one more time it goes. This was from one of my previous haul videos. Why does it still have the hanger? I just chucked it in the box with the hanger. And it is a London fog jacket, but it has a sort of unique floral print, and it is very 80s-rific. These shoulder pads, you'd have to walk sideways to get through doors. But London fog, you know it. And it is floral. Excellent condition, considering how old it is. We'll see how they do. I would expect anywhere from 80 to 150. Just don't really care to sell that myself. One of my last items here is a Valentino blazer. And look at that, it's from Joe Brand. I don't know if you all know what Joe Brand is, but I remember it being at the department store, and it was where they had all the upscale labels never went in that store except to just like gawk at things every once in a while, and I always felt so out of place. But Valentino evening wear, they price okay. I don't think they'll probably do too much on this just because it's pretty plain and it's black, but we'll see. One thing I'm excited to send in and curious to see how that does is these. You remember them from one of my last haul videos. They are chrome hearts. And I found them for a couple of dollars in a glasses bin at a Pennywise resale shop. So I'm probably going to put these in some kind of dust bag or something just to protect them. But they are on their way also, finally. And the last thing I have here, which I don't think is going to fit in the box I have here. I'm going to have to find another box or possibly send it in a giant envelope. Thankfully, TheRealReal sends their items in pretty big boxes, so I might be able to just repurpose one of the ones that they've sent me previously. But it is a garment bag by Oscar de la Renta, and I don't know if they will accept this. Usually Oscar de la Renta pieces for men, they're just like, we don't want none of that. Make sure that you always take a look at the designer accepted list, because just because something's designer doesn't mean they're going to take it. I've heard that some resellers have a lot of luck with sending in just anything or filling out papers with what they're sending in. But every time I've done that, it's never worked in my favor. So I will see how they do with this. I put it as a women's bag, but it's all going to be dependent on who the reviewer is. But thankfully it has the strap, it has everything. I paid about $3 for this at a family thrift center outlet. It does have an X on, or it does have the price from the family thrift center outlet. They love to write the price in red marker on everything. Hate that. But I have sent in previously a wallet that had Goodwill's pricing on it, which was an X for $10, and they actually accepted it. So I think it might just be another situation of luck of the draw, basically. So we'll see how this does. I have no desire to sell this myself, and I bought this ages ago to send into TheRealReal, so I'm finally going to send it in. That's all the items I'm going to be sending into TheRealReal this time, and I will possibly do a video to update you guys, or maybe I'll just sneak those in my what sold videos as things go along, to let you know what they took, what they didn't take, if there's any surprises, and I'll keep you posted. If you haven't done so already, please make sure to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon, that way you're notified every week whenever I upload a video. I usually upload a what sold video every week, and those videos are awesome because they tell you what's currently selling and what you should be sourcing. I want to thank you so much for taking the time to look at this video as you do with all my other ones. I really appreciate it. Please make sure to comment, like, and share this video with anyone that you think may be into reselling content. Have you sent any items into TheRealReal? What's your best sale? What are some things you wish you hadn't sent in? I'd love to hear about it, so please comment below with your RealReal findings. Wish me luck with this RealReal submission, and I hope you have an incredible sales week. The first item I have is other thoughts about TheRealReal. Another reason I film most of my videos late at night is just because kids yelling, hollering, love the screaming all the time outside. Apartment living 101. See you in the next one.